Hey y'all, welcome into Lemons to Lemonade. My name is Kara and we are a furniture flipping family located deep in the heart of Texas. Today we're showing you how we made over a mid-century modern dresser with a twist. This cool guy created quite the stir over on our Instagram page. So follow me out to the garage and we'll show you what we did. I just cannot wait for you to see. Come on.
So here's our original piece. It is an MCM dresser from the 1960s. It's pretty beat up in shape, just some damage and things to the top that we're definitely going to have to take care of. This guy was well loved and sat out in a garage for a little bit, so sturdy, needs to be cleaned. Lots of coffee cups and stained things left on the top. Drawers are all in great working condition, and the drawers are really nice and fresh inside, so that's always helpful. And all the original hardware is there, so that is a big plus. So just some cleaning to do on this guy and patching up some nicks and scratches. Looks like somebody took a knife to the front of that. I don't know. Anyway, so it's going to be a fun piece to make over. It's got a really great structure to it, and it's going to be fun when it's spruced up and painted. First things first, we got to get all this hardware off. I'm so glad that all the hardware was there. I love the 1960s, 1970s hardware on these pieces that we're finding these days. They can't be duplicated anymore. They're really hard to replace. So it's so fun when it still comes with the piece and it's in great shape like this. This piece was really dirty inside from being left out in the garage for so long, so I took the vacuum to it first, and then when I'm done vacuuming, I will use some Simple Green on the inside, outside, and all the drawers to make sure everything has a good scrub before we start fixing it. Now it's time to take some wood fill and fill in all those gouges that we saw in the piece. There really wasn't any big breaks or anything missing from this, which is always nice, but it did have some gouges in the top of it that we're definitely going to need to fix. So the interesting thing about these old school dressers is that they have this plastic type coating on the top of them. It's not veneer, it's not laminate, it is like a plasticky substance that's been printed to make it look like it's got wood on the top or a wood grain. But the interesting thing is underneath this plastic coating is always some really beautiful wood, especially on the heavier pieces. That's usually a good indication that what you have under that plastic coating is real wood. So this entire dresser is made of real wood, and we're going to take down the plastic coating in a lot of areas. So Chris is sanding off the top right now, and we're thinking whether we're going to stain this or paint it. We're not really sure, so we're just getting it ready for either. And then we're going to take down a bunch of the drawers as well, because we're going to put some really fun patterns in them later. Now you can see what that wood underneath looks like. It's just amazing that they covered that up with that plastic material and then printed a wood type printing on the top. When you have wood underneath, I don't know, I'll never understand why they did this. But we started off with an 80 grit, we went over it with a 120, and now he's going to do a 240 to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Now that we've sanded down the top, we'll go back in with our Surf Prep sander and sand down any of the wood fill that we used to fill in some of the gouges that we found. On these older dressers, I like to take my Surf Prep sander and just make all the drawers nice and smooth on the outsides. It helps them glide in the dresser much easier. And then this one did have some manufacturer spray that went over the sides, so I wanted to get that off as well so everything looks nice and uniform. We've decided we are going to go ahead and paint the top, so I'm going to use some Sherwin-Williams shellac primer just to prime the surface before we use our alabaster white paint. And now that my primer's dry, I'm going to go ahead and go over my entire piece with some 220 grit sandpaper. This really helps your chalk paint adhere to your piece. It's very important to rough up your piece before you start painting. My favorite chalk paint is Sherwin-Williams. We're going to use the alabaster white color on this piece. We decided to do something really fun with these drawers, so I'm going to use this Varathane wood stain in the whitewash. I used this a few weeks ago on the secretary's desk that we redid, and I will leave that link at the top. I love how user-friendly this whitewash is. It's very similar to a paint stain, except this is a true wood stain. Very easy to apply, just wipe on and wipe off. It really helps take down any of the tones in your wood that you don't want to see. Like there's a little bit of a red tone in this wood and it's going to get rid of that. So any of those orangey tones or red tones, this whitewash works really well to get rid of those. Now for the designs on the drawers. So underneath the lines is that whitewashed wood that I previously did on the drawers. Now he's going to fill in the exposed lines with the alabaster chalk paint. I got to do the fun part. So satisfying. All of my hardware has been scrubbed and dried, and I love to use the flat gold metallic spray paint on the MCM pieces. That flat gold just really sets them off, and it's just not too shiny or overpowering. I find it's really perfect for MCM pieces that we paint black or white. We're going to finish off the piece with the Helmsman Spar urethane. I like this in the satin finish, and most of our dressers get at least 2 to 3 coats. Alright guys, the big reveal is coming up quickly, but before we get there, this piece is going to be the very first one that we list on our Etsy shop, which means our pieces will now be available nationwide. Link to our Etsy storefront is going to be listed in the description box below. We are so excited to be able to share our furniture flips with a broader audience and not just have to depend on Facebook Marketplace any longer. So without further ado, here is this week's furniture flip. And we'll see you next week on Lemons to Lemonade.